Welcome everyone to the Radical Geek YouTube channel. Today we're going to do a quick talk about bike fit and our basic bike equipment. Hey everyone, welcome. I thought we would start out this fine Wednesday evening with a little bit of discussion about riding the bicycle, especially indoors, but this applies to outdoors as well. Not only have people mentioned, hey, you like all this cycling stuff, but you don't talk about it on your YouTube, which is because I get distracted about all of the other fun stuff we can geek out on. I thought, of course, there's no time like the present. And on some of the other streams that I participate in, people have been getting into bicycle cycling or indoor cycling. And one of the topics that comes up over and over again is that they're experiencing pain. And sometimes they think it's because they're not fit yet, or they need to try harder, or they need more cushion, or it could be, or any number of things. And I thought, really, I know by now that 98% of the time that pain is from improper fit and or improper equipment. And so I thought I would take a minute, and I'll start off first with one very important thing and talk to you about your clothing. So if it is just like some very light tenderness on your backside, I know you can't see me touching my butt, but that's okay. Basic bike shorts are 100% essential. Buying a great big giant pad for your seat is not going to be effective in the way you think it might be. Short term, it might be helpful, but it's actually going to impact the overall fit of your bike and of your seat, and potentially could be causing more harm to your joints than actually just helping reduce your pain. But, and I know that's not a joke, but yes, but you can buy bike shorts. And the important thing, when people say bike shorts, they often think of just your regular workout Lycra shorts, because that's kind of what they look like. But that's not the whole story. Inside bike shorts, there is, let me come around, this piece. It's called a chamois, and in a lot of times it's a gel or a membrane foam sort of pad. In way back in the day, they had leather, which would condition and conform to your body, but these fancy gel pads are everything. Now, they are not necessarily unisex. You should buy padding that fits your anatomy. So if you have a vagina, you want to get shorts that are designed for that, because they are lined differently to accommodate the different anatomy. So that's just a little bit of awareness. So make sure you talk to the store where you are shopping, or you pay attention to that on the websites where you are. Be aware that not all brands are equal. Cycling clothes are ridiculously priced, but that is for a reason, and that is quality. So if you buy the $10 bike shorts on Amazon, chances are they're not really going to fit, or they're not going to last very long, or they will have irregularities, things that don't help you out. I will also mention that because of the chamois, counterintuitive, don't wear underwear. 100% don't wear underwear. It feels weird. It feels not right. It feels like I really should be wearing some underpants, but the answer is absolutely not. And that is because the seams in underwear, even in your seamless or shapers, do interact with the chamois and prevent the chamois from helping you alleviate your bike discomfort. So there are things you can do. Now I showed you some shorts. That is one piece of clothing that you can have, and I'll just toss this off to the side now, so out of the way. Other pieces you can have, say you do have your favorite leggings, or it's cold out and you need multiple layers, or any number of things that you can do. There are cycling underwear, which is underwear that has the chamois built in, and technically they call it cycling underwear because you can wear it under leggings or things like that and get a similar assist that you would from a bike short. It's not as cushioned and it's a differently effective, but if you get one that fits you proper, it will do you well. So, but you're not wearing other underpants under it, and so they are still next to your skin, and your other pants go over it. So that is a thing. Depending on how brave you are, if it's 110 degrees out in Arizona, they are street legal. And let's face it, there's always that image on the internet of the guy in his Speedo, which is probably a cycling underwear, and not a real Speedo, cycling down the road. I will tell you that's probably not the best idea, but it's amusing to think about, and you could totally just wear your cycling underwear and go like you're in a swimsuit. Lastly, I have actually a pair of these on right now underneath here, but these are called bibs because, well, they have the shoulder straps, and it's a one piece. It's a streamlined garment that goes underneath your jersey. So it does take some work, especially if you're out and you're getting all hot and sweaty and you have to go to the bathroom, because then you have to take off your shirt and all of that other fun stuff. But I gotta say, when it comes to comfort on the bike and keeping everything just so and really nice and comfortable, you really can't beat the bibs. Who knew? And like I said, but just like the other bike shorts, they come with a chamois and the cushion, make everything nice for you. So, what else? We'll tell you that in conjunction with the chamois, if you are going more than a couple miles, which on a bicycle, or if you're just talking about mileage that you're going to produce while you're stationary, chamois cream. Sounds freaky, right? Possibly intimidating, possibly ridiculous. I will tell you, it will save you many, many, many problems. This stuff is amazing magic that I resisted for far too long because I was feeling prudish or uptight, or somehow just had it in my head that I didn't need it. And as it turns out, chamois butter is what it's called, is a special lotion to put on your chamois and maybe on your thighs and on the bottom part of your butt. Just slather it on there. I assure you, it is magical. It helps alleviate friction and rubbing. Some things that can happen to people are blisters, are things that are called saddle sores, and they are completely nightmarishly horrible. Absolutely horrible. You can also get friction on your thighs from the general rubbing and all the extra motion and things that you are doing. The chamois butter is amazing. And just to vary off the topic a little bit, I really wish I had discovered this like 15 years ago, even when I was really just super heavy and I wasn't doing exercising. I think that if you are overweight, you have experienced this. You wear something nice and you get what I'm going to call chub rub, which is that chafing and rash that you get in your thighs from them rubbing together underneath your dresses or skirts or loose fitting pants or loose gym shorts, that kind of thing. And honestly, for something that sounds so innocuous, it really freaking hurts. And I'd be willing to bet if I had this stuff and put that on my thighs, I wouldn't have had that experience. And I just wish that it would go absolutely hog wild out in the public. But it seems to be pretty categorized for cyclists, so be it. Use it. don't be worried about it. Use it. And just so you know, they make some that is anatomy specific. This one is called Chamois Cream. It's pH balanced because it is going on you. You know, it's touching your genitals. It's going to get up in all kinds of crevices and areas. People don't like to say these things in public, and you know, it's because anatomy is an uncomfortable discussion in the United States. But the fact of the matter is that things get sweaty, parts get sweaty, and any tool you can have that helps with your body health, you should use it. Put it in your arsenal. It's fantastic, and it doesn't matter which brand it is. We all have our preferences. Chamois butter is the stuff. So that's the high-level piece for equipment. Now, the other thing I will tell you is, yes, even indoors, wear your cycling gloves. Get yourself a pair. Just go down to your local bike shop, tell them you need some gloves, try some on, find some that fit your hands comfortable. They have little bits of padding all here on the fingers, right in the pads, and right here. It is a lifesaver because even when you're on a stationary bike indoors, there is vibration that comes up as you pedal, as you move, as your body is bumping. So that helps with the absorption. It seems like it's only a little nothing, but it's a really huge difference. And so yes, even when you're riding indoors, get yourself kitted up and put all of your equipment on. You don't have to wear your bike helmet inside unless you plan on falling off your bike, which I'm ashamed to say has happened, simply because I've been in a rush and not done my due diligence, and there's nothing more humiliating than trying to hop off your bike and going splat onto your basement floor. These things happen, especially when you're kind of a nerd like me. So, the other thing you do not need for indoors, but let's be honest, one ridiculously fun thing about cycling is that the clothes are as wild and as loud or as restrained as you want them to be. Bike shirts come with pockets. Big, enormous, giant pockets that you can put whatever you need in there. You want your phone, you can cram it in there. You want snacks, you cram them in there. Everything can go in these pockets. So, and shirts and jerseys come in every flavor and color you can imagine. They are wild and bright for visibility, which you don't necessarily need in your basement, but who doesn't love to look fun, right? And I will tell you that this is one of my favorite jerseys to wear out, even though it gets quite the commentary at times. And some of it's not very nice because some people can't help themselves from being snide, but for me, I just think it's the most ridiculous fun, especially if you are geekly inclined. So that's this high-level overview. The last thing I'm going to mention is shoes. Even if you are cycling indoors, and I'll just pull one off and put it back on, even though it's going to be a little awkward. These have clips. There are endless arguments about clip or no clip, clip or no clip. And 100%, there is no right answer. It is find what works for you. However, if you are on a stationary bike inside your house, or like a Peloton or any of those smart bikes, or you have a get up like I have, which we'll talk about in a minute, you will benefit from clips. So let me get this back on my foot, and I will tell you, whatever bike you have, you'll want shoes with clips that match to that type of bicycle. So there are mountain bike shoes with clips, there are road bike shoes with clips, there are special kind of clips that go with your stationary bikes, there are Peloton shoes, there are, you name it, that exist, and they are no two the same. So you do need to get the kind that matches your bike. Anytime, if you want, I can go through shoes and show you a lot of different types, a lot of different styles. So those are all different things that you will want to get to enhance your cycling journey. I know it's a lot of money up front. One of the unfortunate things is If you are getting very serious into your stationary bike and going hardcore with the Peloton, you do make an investment in money. Same thing if you start going high-end on bikes. If you get a beater just to tootle to the grocery store, you might be doing all right, but I'll tell you that your personal pleasure is maybe not as good as it could be. Unfortunately, it is one thing where I have to say you should spend the money to get the right thing for you. Now, I ride outdoors the minute the weather is good enough for me to be outdoors. I know many people with better bikes for winter, and they can take it, and you can get fat bikes, you can get motorized bikes, you can get electric bikes, you can get bikes that can do anything. You can go out there in a couple feet of snow, no problem. That's not for me. I have Raynaud's and rheumatoid arthritis that gets aggravated by the cold weather. So once it becomes winter, I am inside. So let me just step around here. I have my favorite bike. This is the Trek Emonda Alr. It is a 100% road bike. It does not like being off the road. It's okay inside because it's not touching any dirt. It has, and I have taken it off the back wheel and hooked it up to this smart trainer, effectively turning it into a resistance trainer that with a lot of controls that you can hook up to various applications to run it differently. Much like your smart stationary bike, it's the same kind of technology. So if it says you're going up a hill, it really feels like you're going up a hill. It's brutal and it is extremely hard. And from there, bringing this in like this effectively turns this in from a street bike to an indoor stationary bike. It does not move, although it does have all of the gearing just like normal when I'm outside, and it feels like it too. So I'm going to take a sip here. And I'm not going to talk about my fancy table today. We will talk about those at some point though, because it was well worth every penny. I often put my laptop up here so I can put my cycling program on, and someone else can ride the other bike and they can do their own thing or use the wall projector. So, or we can swap out, and if you look over here at this white piece, those are rollers, which instead of a trainer like this, which does all the controlling, rollers are intensely speed and balance motivated. They're a scary device, and I'll be honest, they get probably way less use than they ought to because of how challenging it is. So we'll go from there. The next thing I was going to start talking to you about is bike fit. That is the #1 cause of pain and suffering with your bike, whether it's your stationary bike or your outdoor bike. There are some differences, but I'm not going to talk about those today. Today we're going to talk about things you can try if you are experiencing pain. Now, with the caveat, if you are brand spanking new and you are not an exercise-oriented person, and your first foray into exercise was that you ran out and you bought a stationary bicycle to ride while you watch TV, you're probably going to feel some discomfort and soreness in your backside. And I'm sorry to be graphic, but it's necessary. Right here. And this is right where those paddings are. I know my hands are in the way. You know, I call this the sweet spot. That's your the lower portion of your gluteus maximus. So, and you will. There's no way around it. You're working a muscle. It's a muscle. It doesn't have any tone to it if you've never used it before. So there's going to be soreness, just like there's soreness with anything. There's a slight difference though between soreness and agonizing pain. Let me tell you, I have been there. I have been there when I was first trying to get back into riding a bicycle, even though I was unfit. I was like, I used to ride a bike all the time. And I went to a bike shop, but it was not a reputable, it was not a high-end or a specialty bike shop. They were just looking to sell bikes. So they took one look at me and said, look how small you are. Here's our smallest bike. Make it work. It'll be amazing. And guess what? We'll give you a little bit of a discount. And I didn't know better. And I bought it. And I was in so much misery that it sat. I used it maybe 3 times. And finally I told my spouse, I was like, it's just not for me. It doesn't work out. And we tried some other things. And then I got another bike that did fit. And it was pretty good. I still wasn't happy, and boy, was I struggling. It was hard, but it was an older steel bike, not made for the kind of things I was trying to make it do. But it wasn't bad, and I was having fun, and I was really getting into it. Then one day I walked into the Trek bike shop because way back before I had my downhill turn in my health journey, I did ride a bike for fun, and what I had back then was a Trek because they fit short people. And I said, you know what, I'm going there. And I walked in there and they scanned me and they did a cursory high-level fit, and he said, we have 2 bikes that will fit you and you should get on them and let's go outside. And that day I had no intention of actually buying a bike. I was shopping and exploring. But I got on the bike and I took one loop around and I was like, oh, I had that glory, hallelujah, lights come down from the heavens, like, oh my God, what am I riding? This is the most amazing bicycle ride I've ever taken in my entire life. In fact, it was hard for me to go back and give the bike back to the shop and try the other one. I wound up with this one, which was every bit the bike that I wasn't shopping for, and as it turns out, this is my baby. So here we are. Bike fit. I went way off topic. So, first and foremost, number 1 is the bike seat. I don't know what people often think. It's a lot of, you think that it should be down where your lower hip is, right where your crotch level is. A lot of people think that. There's a popular myth outside that your feet should be flat on the ground when you're like standing over the bar, and absolutely none of that is true. Your seat should kind of be like right in the little bit of the curve, just below your waist. So here, and your seat should be flat and level, never tilted. We'll explain why in a minute. And I'll just walk back over there so I can show you up close. Where most people think their bike seat should be is here, and where it should actually be is aligned way up here. So that's actually a pretty good size difference. Sometimes you see people too with it like ridiculous high and way up here at their waist level, and they think that's so that they can hunch down and get real aerodynamic and speedy, and that's also a bad practice, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So, but you want that right there at that spot, and you want good and level, absolutely 100% level. People will tell you, oh, if you're experiencing pain, tilt it forward, tilt it just a little bit at an angle, and you don't want to do that, because when you tilt your seat, you're adjusting how you fit on the seat and where it's putting pressure. Once you put it forward, you're going to put strain on your neck and strain on your arms. You're going to cause yourself tendonitis in your forearm and carpal tunnel, a huge risk. There are other things that impact that too as well, but that's the first pieces. So let's hop on here for a minute. Takes me a second to, there you go, I'm flipping that one on. Now, the other thing is, once you get your seat where you think it is, you're going to start to make adjustments. And people think that when you are on your bike, when you are seated properly, that you are going to be straight up and down with your leg. But as you can see, this bike has been professionally fit for me many, many times. I always go and I get what's called micro adjustments, which it sounds crazy, but sometimes centimeters can make a difference. And as I lost weight, or as my muscle changed, maybe my fit changes a little bit. fit changes going from outside to inside, all kinds of things. So, and people who really get into it love checking, but you do want that. If you see, I've got the ball of my foot clipped in, not my heel, the ball. So that ball of the foot, if I straighten out, my heel is pretty close to the ground, and it's actually dipped down below the pedal. That's really uncomfortable, and so I'm going to stop that. But if I am here, give me a second here, there we go. I'm here, and I'm in my ideal cycling position, sitting straight up. Well, that's not the ideal position, but for fit, I'm sitting here. You can see my leg comes down, and it's about a 30-degree angle. That's what you're looking for with the ball of your foot right center on the pedal. 30-degree angle. So, and that is because when you come up, you want to be able to push down with your foot, and at the same time, you'll also do a light up pull, especially when you're doing those exercises, and they start talking about push and pull, getting out more power. But as you see, my leg never extends all the way fully straight, nor does it come way up here. That's an indicator that your seat's too high. Ooh, that actually hurts your hip too. That's another thing that can happen. If you've got your seat improper and your legs are too straight when they're at the bottom of the pedal, or you find yourself like really having to pull, because I say pull up, but you're not really. Once you actually, if you're properly fit, once you get rolling, you actually shouldn't really be having to push and pull a massive amount to just tootle along. That push and pull is when you're trying to really exert power. But if you're just casually rolling along, you almost shouldn't have anything, except for that right now I'm feeling it because my trainer's like, oh, let's do a workout, add some resistance. I've got it set up and programmed a bit, so. But yeah, the natural flow of your body and a proper fit is going to get that rolling with very little effort to it. So those are two big things. The next thing, I'm going to slide my little table forward to, whoops, I've got a light in the way. But handlebars. Let me move my little sweat towel. Handlebars, which you can't see as well on the camera. I have what are called drop bars. On a stationary bike, you won't have drop bars. Or, I don't know, maybe there are some that do. But bar position is the same regardless. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking that they will be comfortable in a 90 degree and they raise their bars up high and think they're going to work tootling along and exercise up here, and that is actually going to cause you pain in your butt, really huge. It's going to cause you to have stitches in your side. You're going to feel all of that right here, and it's going to cause problems with your hips in a big way. It's hugely, and your lower back, especially your sciatica. So, what's your ideal position for your handlebars? Your handlebars should be right here, and you're going to get like that 50% sort of angle when you're leaning forward, that 50%. So you see like your spine has like a nice little even little line, very smooth, and that is your ideal position. What that does is it brings and loosens everything up right through here, so you're not straining your back. It also gives you enough lift so you're not putting weight down here. This is just a relaxed. That's another thing. When people put the handlebars too low, they wind up leaning too far forward. And just doing that right now, I can tell you that does not feel good. That puts immediate strain all through here, and I immediately felt everything contract right here in my back. You don't want weight going here. This is not meant to hold you in place. They're meant to give you a place to rest your hands, a place to maybe give yourself a little extra balance, a little bit of exercise, but not anything that should be causing you pain. I will tell you the beauty of drop bars, which we'll have to do another time, is that it gives you multiple positions. So when you're doing long distances or really long rides, or you need to do different activities, you can change the positions of your hands. I have this is a resting place. Then they have these right here, which is what you'll be most of the time. This is where you access your brakes and your gear shifts and all of that fun stuff. And then they have what is actually called the drops, which is you lower down here. And I know what I said about back position, but as you see, even though I brought myself from here down to here, my back is not really changing. Oh, what this does though is give you a little bit of a different aerodynamics and gives you the ability to put more power into your pedaling. So, if you were on a stationary bike, once you get your bike fit going and you're doing that, one of the things that I've heard multiple people say is when they tell you to get out of the saddle is brutal. And yes, that is a challenge, but most of the time the difficulty is due to improper fit. And I've noticed that a lot of the people who I've talked to, and again, this is not just one person, it's many people. These are the things that I hear over and over again. The difference in bike fit, again, I'm talking like centimeter changes. You can think you've got it all right and you'll still have some problems. But proper bike fit and getting out of the saddle, you have your bike and you go roll along and they tell you, okay, it's time to get up. And you think that it should be hard, but if you've got a proper bike fit, getting out of the saddle suddenly becomes so much easier. It's completely different, and it's really literally just a little bit of adjustment that you have to make on your bike seat. At no time, I mean, I'm going to tell you, you're not using your arms to lift yourself. That's to make sure that you're well balanced. But as you can see, proper bike fit, you can get right up. And there you go. So your handlebars are not to bear your weight. They are just to give you that little sense of balance. So that is the few. Let me be honest, that's a really high level, even though this feels like it went on for a long time. That's a really high level discussion. And I'm going to go back for just a minute to talk about these shoes a bit. When I talk about bike fit, your clips matter too. We'll have an episode where we talk about that, but two things. If you are experiencing tingling or numbness or cold in your toes, get yourself to the bike shop and have them help you adjust your clips. Yes, you can do it, but you can do it on your own, but it's really hard to get it right. Second pair of hands, every time. They will fix you right up and that pain will disappear. If it is your shoes being improperly fit to the bike, or to you rather. But most often, I'm telling you, it's the bike seat. Proper bike fit, proper seat fit will fix everything. So that's the crux of what I was going to say. It felt like I'm forgetting one more thing, but that's because we could probably go on for like another hour and a half telling you crazy stuff about the bike and the bike fit and the clothes and the impacts it has. Now, back on that bike seat, one thing I will tell you, some real quick hints. If you are getting pain, let me bring my leg up here, in the front, and you feel like a lot of excessive burn on your thigh, and if you felt burn in your thigh, you will know exactly what I mean. But if you're getting pain in the front of your knee and on your thigh, you need to lower your seat a teeny bit, and it will make a huge difference. Oh, my trainer got tied up. Okay. If your pain is back here, then your seat is too low and you need to raise it up. So front and top is you need to lower, or rather you need to raise it up. Back, you need to lower it down. So I think I just did that backwards. I'm sorry about that. I'm just, you get going. Yes. So if you're getting pain in the front and on the top, your seat needs to be raised up. If you're getting pain in the back, it needs to be lowered down. Sorry if I flubbed that a second ago. You know how it is. You making the videos, you get to talking, and your brain disengages just a smidge. Sorry about that, but there you go. So that's the basics for tonight. Let me know in the comments what other questions you have, because I know there's a giant swath that we did not cover, and there's no way we're getting it all in one little video. It's just never ever going to happen. So let me just go ahead and step right off of there. And as you can see, also, if your clips fit you proper, it's not like an effort to get on and off. It's not a big deal to clip in and out. Sometimes you hear like those horror stories of like, oh, I wore clips and then I got stuck and fell over at the stoplight, and now I can never wear clips again. And the answer is, honestly, you just should have, at the store, had them fit your clips. Make some minor adjustments, loosen them up or tighten them up, whichever is needed, and it's nothing. It pops in, it pops out. When they don't do that, you have to make adjustments, and there are adjustments you can make on the shoes and adjustments to the pedals. We'll get into that another time. But now, I'm going to go get my Wonder Woman on, so I'll catch you guys a bit later. You have a good one, and I'll talk to you real soon.